Thanks, I was just trying to find that. All right, welcome everybody. Okay, hi everyone, I am Erin O'Brien. I'm the Thermomix Consultant and Team Leader of the Mixmasters, pretty much virtual Thermomix team really. We've got consultants from all around Australia, which is really cool. And this is our first class for 2023. So welcome and thank you all for joining us. Tonight we're going to be showing you guys quite a few little lunchbox dishes. So we know it's nearly time to head back to school and kinder and all of those things. So we thought we'd give you a few extra recipes, some hints and tips and that kind of thing to get you started. And of course, showing you the TM6 in action for those of you who don't have one. So we'll start just by maybe popping in the chat box and just let us know, do you have a Thermomix? And if you do, what model do you have? And perhaps what brought you along tonight? So were you invited by a friend? Are you here for our new Cutter Host Award, or are you getting some inspiration for the start of the school year? Pop in the chat box and let us know. So I'm actually going to kick us off today. So firstly, I'll introduce myself properly. So I'm a consultant that's based in Druin in Victoria. I sell Thermomixes Australia-wide. I've recently become a team leader, which I'm really enjoying. And yeah, I'm the thermo-loving mum on Instagram and Facebook. I first joined the Thermomix team a bit over 2 years ago now. I originally joined just to earn a TM6. I had the TM5 before this one, the model before, but decided I wanted to upgrade but didn't really want to pay for it. So I joined to earn, and at the time I was earning and leaving. I just wanted a new machine and I was out after my 60 days, but I just really enjoyed it. And obviously I'm still here today, sharing it all with you. So that's a little bit about me, but we're going to get started. So tonight I'm going to show you guys just a really basic bread recipe that then I'm going to turn into 3 different kind of dishes. So we're going to turn a basic bread recipe into cheese and bacon rolls, some savoury scrolls and some mini hot dogs as well. So I'm just showing you how one simple recipe can be used in a few different ways, and they're all freezer friendly and perfect for lunch boxes. So this recipe, once I've finished, I'll pop our little recipe ebook in the chat box. I'll do that afterwards. This recipe is actually from the recipe community. And so with our TM6, those of you who have a previous model or don't have one yet, our TM6 has the ability to import recipes from the recipe community. So I've imported this one so that I can use it for guided cooking. So I just go to my home button, into my recipes and into created recipes. So the recipe I'm using is the Thermo Mama Jumbo White Loaf. So like I said, it will be in the ebook that I'll pop in the chat box once I've finished here. So I'll just scroll down to find that one. Has anyone made this bread recipe before? There are a few different recipes, like there's a couple on Cookie Dough you could use as well that all work just the same. This is just my personal favourite. It is super easy and it just gives you beautiful fluffy dough every time. So we're just going to hit start cooking. All right, and literally what we're going to do is pop all the ingredients in together. Oh, actually, sorry, before I start, I might just do the cheese first. So I'm going to go back to the home screen. I put it here so I wouldn't forget, and I still managed to forget. So what I'm going to do is just quickly grate some cheese. So we could use our new slicer and grater attachment, but I'm pretty happy with the little crumble cheese that we get, and it's super, super quick with the chop. So all I'm going to do is I've obviously just got some roughly chopped cheese. This is going to top our mini hot dogs and our scrolls. So I'm just going to pop all that in there. And I just do this manually. 5 seconds on speed 7 will chop our cheese perfectly for us. So depending on how much you have, it might even be less than 5 seconds. But that's a fair bit. And that's it. That's cheese grated or chopped, however you like. Obviously, when you're chopping it and melting it, it really doesn't matter. The texture doesn't have to be that perfect grate. So you can see that there, 5 seconds for all that cheese to be grated. Could you do that by hand yourself? All right, so now we'll move on to that recipe. I'm just going to swap jugs. I just thought I'd do that first because the dough needs to knead for a few minutes, so we can continue on while it's kneading that way. So back up into my recipes, into created recipes. Scrolling down to that Thermo Mama. So tell me, are you guys doing many doughs in your Thermomix? Any bread products for school lunch boxes and that kind of thing? Do you make rolls? Scrolls are very popular, I know. few people hate them too, which is why I thought I'd just do them quickly to show you how I do them and how they're not as scary as they seem. So we're just going to pop all of our ingredients in the bowl. So if we hit the little scale symbol down the bottom right-hand corner, that brings up our whole list of ingredients. So we can just work through it, adding them all in really. So first of all, we've got 360 grams of water. And we're just watching our scales on this side, obviously. Oops. Make sure I'm not touching. So tell me, what breads and stuff are you guys making for your lunch boxes? Is it something you make, or is it something you're scared of? Or pop it in the chat box and let me know. So we've got 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of yeast. I make this recipe. You can use this bread recipe for pretty much anything. Like I make it for garlic bread, a loaf of bread, just plain rolls, anything that's a bread recipe you can use this for really. So 600 grams of baker's flour in next. I've got a giant tub of baker's flour that I use here. I get mine from Costco. You can get them from baker's flour just from the supermarket, but we get them in the huge bags from Costco because we do use quite a bit. So 600 grams of flour. A bit harder to do backwards. Dropped my baker's flour, my bread improver. So then we've got 2 teaspoons of salt. I don't measure my salt very accurately. Roundabout. Next, 2 teaspoons of bread improver. So this just makes it nice and fluffy. Like just a beautiful bready texture. You can, if you don't have any bread improver, you can swap bread improver for apple cider vinegar as well. It works exactly the same. So exactly the same. So 2 teaspoons, and that will work well. And then 20 grams of olive oil. So just watching the scales. And that's it. Then we're going to just get out of that with a little cross in the top right-hand corner. And then next to the scale symbol, there's a little blade symbol. You probably can't see it from that far away, but you just hit that one. I'm sorry if I actually go to the next step. I'm so used to making this recipe, I could probably do it with my eyes closed. And then we're going to knead it for 6 minutes. And that's it for this recipe. So into that blade. And then at the top of the screen, you'll see mode. So if you flick across to that, it takes you off that time, temperature, and speed screen and into your mode screen. So then you can select dough from there, just pop on 6 minutes and start it. And that's it, that's your dough done as far as making it's concerned. And then it's time to just roll it out or do whatever you want with it. So I'm just going to move that to the side and let it do its thing. So after you've made your dough, then you just rest it for 15 minutes. So I've just got mine wrapped up. This is one I made just before we started, just wrapped in our bread mat, which you can grab from the mix shop. Or is also available as a host reward as well, bundled with our oven mat too. So you can get those tonight if you've got guests or another time as well. They're really great. I love my bread mats. So we're just going to punch it down just a little bit, get rid of all those air pockets. And what I'm doing tonight, just for the sake of showing you a couple of things in a short period, is I'm going to divide my bread in 3. Just grab my couple of things. So I've just also just got the dough cutter from the mix shop. So you can't use any knives or anything on your bread mat, you'll ruin them. So this is just a plastic dough cutter. So I'm just using that to divide my dough into 3. And here I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do with it. So to start with, we're going to make some cheese and bacon rolls. So I'm just going to use that third of the dough and I'm going to make that 4. So the way I just do it, you could measure them out using the scales on the Thermomix if you wanted. But otherwise, just cut it evenly-ish in 4. So then from here, how I do my rolls, like I know everybody does them very differently and that's perfectly fine. So I kind of flatten them out a little bit and then I use a tucking action. So I use like the palm of this hand and the fingers on this one and just roll it around and tuck it. So you're tucking with your my right hand rolling with my palm on my left, and that kind of creates a little air pocket underneath, so that it is a nice, beautiful fluffy roll. So I'll just put my tray. So again, I just flatten it out first and then just tuck and roll. And once you've done it a few times, it's super quick and easy as well, not much hands-on time at all. Then you just want to space them apart a little bit. There we go, and that's it. That's how the 4 bread rolls ready to proof there. So that's them done. Now next, what we're going to do next, I'm not sure if anyone's seen me make or seen a few of us make these on our social media before, but we make little hot dogs too. The kids love them in their lunch boxes. So I've just got the mini loaf tray. This one's a bit bigger than the one you can get from the mix shop. Mine's actually from Kmart. And I find that a full batch of this dough does about 18 of these. You don't want them too bready when you put the little hot dogs in. I'll show you obviously afterwards. So yeah, if you separate your dough into 18, you'll get like a perfect amount. So obviously then I'll do this one into 6. And I do them much the same. So I just do the tucking. Hopefully you can see that all right. Let me know if you can't. And then I just roll them into a log after that. So just kind of back and forth in my hands and just get a little log. So I'll just bring up the chat box so I can see. Making pizza dough. I'll have to read back afterwards, I can't say. Guys, let me know if there's anything I need to answer or anything in there. So really like the rolling out, the hands-on part of dough, like obviously making the Thermomix, it's got its 6 minutes of kneading, but I've walked away from that now. I'm keeping an eye on my Thermomix to make sure it doesn't jump off the bench, but there's no other hands-on time for that. And then this is it for the hands-on time. So it's once you're used to it, it's really quite quick. And then we're going to just make a little tiny little batch of scrolls as well. So if I was making this at home, I'd like to, you know, if I'm stocking my freezer ready for the school year, I'd do a batch of each of these. But obviously, you know, it depends on how many kids you've got and how much they eat and that kind of thing. You can do half and half or whatever, really. All right, so then I'm just going to roll out. So that's my, sorry, I should have showed you properly. That's my little hot dog rolls done. My cheese and bacon rolls done. And now my last third of dough, I'm just going to roll into a rectangle. So this is the one I'm going to make my scrolls with. Do you guys make scrolls? Pop in the chat box and let me know. And what if you do, what are your favourite flavours? Well, my kids, I should say, my kids love just plain old cheese and Vegemite, so that's nice and easy for me. But you obviously can do pizza kind of flavours. A pesto is really nice as well. I just love how one bread recipe can be so versatile to do lots of things. It's fantastic, really. So, and if I was doing this whole batch of dough as scrolls, I generally find that one batch fills my bread mat perfectly. So then I know that that's about the right thickness to roll it out. I'm just going to get my Vegemite. My little trick for my Vegemite is just using like a cake decorating knife. I just find that that makes it easy to spread on. I don't warm it up or anything. I know some people do, but using that cake decorating tool, it just kind of makes it easier to spread without kind of digging. Less is more. More is perfect, sorry, when you are putting on your Vegemite. It looks awful, and I know those who aren't the world's biggest Vegemite fan think that it's too much, but you really do need heaps, otherwise the flavour doesn't come through as a bread cook. So you just pop that on. And then we're going to get our grated cheese. That's why I just have that pre-grated. You could now, obviously, when your dough's finished, if you're doing it at home, you can rest your dough and then spread it out. So just pop that on there. Vegemite fingers. And now just roll it up. Like I know some people like to use the dough cutter and slice it into lengths and then roll it manually. I just prefer just doing it this way. I don't think it's too hard. You just want to make sure you kind of tuck it back on itself as you're rolling it. That way it keeps a nice firm roll. And you'll see from the bread mat, like I didn't flour that or anything. It just kind of rolls off there perfectly. That's why I love the bread mat so much. If you make lots of bread products, you really do need these in your life. It makes such a difference to mess and just ease and everything. Love them. All right, so now my little tricks here is I've got a little chopping board. Again, like I said before, you don't want to cut on your mat. You have to throw it in the bin if you slice it. So I just slip that underneath it, and then a little serrated knife. So this is my key to scrolls. I know a lot of people have trouble squashing them and then they're not happy with the shape, that kind of thing. A little serrated knife is my little hot tip. And then you just give it a little sawing action. Obviously your end one's always a bit special. Give it a little saw. And then these will be nice little ones for lunchboxes. Again, like anything, obviously, you can make them to suit you. So if you're just making, you want bigger ones, you can do bigger ones. Whatever. You've got little hands, do little ones.
We just have a question, Erin. Can you use oven tray mats for resting dough as well, or does it stick?
Yeah. No, absolutely perfect. Yeah, this one's just a bit bigger. It is like a bit thinner, so it does kind of wrap a little bit easier, this one, but they're made of the same kind of silicone. So yeah, you definitely can. Again, you wouldn't want to cut on those either. But yeah, absolutely, you can use them. I just find this one, yeah, wrapped like you can see, they're a bit thicker. So this one kind of wraps easier, that's all. And that's it for them. So now when you're resting or when you're proofing your dough, you just need to make sure you cover it. So you want to proof your dough till it's about doubled in size. Now some recipes, and I personally find cookie dough recipes will specify a time, like they'll say rest for an hour or something. My tip is when you're making dough to ignore time. You want to rest until they're doubled in size. So obviously, depending on the weather and where in Australia you live, all those kind of things, your humidity, that can vary heaps. So it could be half an hour and, a nice warm, not today, Melbourne day, half an hour, but today, it could take longer. So cover them so they don't dry out. So with a tea towel or glad wrap, that kind of thing, if they dry out, they form a bit of a crust and then they won't rise. They'll just stay the same size. Cover them and leave them until they're doubled in size. So I'll just grab the ones I prepared earlier. Let's see whether they've doubled. I sometimes, depending on the weather, will cover them with a tea towel and pop them, in the window. Our kids' toy room gets really good sunlight, so they often live in there. So that you can see is exactly the same. Oh, the scrolls I made a little less of. You can see, trying to get the camera right, how much they rose in that half an hour, or that hour, I suppose it probably was a bit over. So you really want to make sure they're doubled in size. Cover the old ones there, or the new ones. And then the same, these ones are probably a bit overdone. They are the little hot dogs. So they looked about the same. I did one batch into three lots there as well. So they're exactly the same kind of size and they've just doubled from proofing, just covered. So just to finish them off now, my little hot dogs. 2 seconds, I'll just get my little hot dogs. So my trick to these, again, because it's like a beautiful fluffy dough now, you don't want to dig into them too much because it'll just deflate it. So I use my kitchen scissors. You can do this however you want and give them a snip. Give them a snip, so you've got a slit down the bottom, down the middle, sorry. I will go back through the chat box and answer any questions if there's any that I'm missing. If the girls haven't been able to do that. I'll just grab my sauce. So then you can, if you don't want sauce, you don't have to, obviously. Again, like literally anything, you just do it how you like it. I add a little bit of sauce in first. You could do barbecue sauce on these as well. We've made them before, which is nice. And then the other thing you want to do, so you just grab your little hot dog and push it right in. They pop it as the bread kind of rises again in the oven. They do tend to kind of pop out a little bit. So you want to make sure, this is why you cut it with the scissors first, so that you can push it, the hot dogs right in there. The kids love these. They're a real little favourite in our house. And then you can add a little bit more sauce if you want to. And then again, just topping it with a bit of cheese, and that's ready to cook. Any questions about those, guys? And then, so they're ready. Obviously, our scrolls are ready, and then we just top our rolls with some cheese and bacon. I also need to grab that out of the fridge because I did pre-cut that one. So I do the same, cutting up the cheese and bacon. I do it exactly the same as I would do just the cheese. So I just throw the bacon in as well, and then do it on a couple of seconds on speed 7. So you've got just a nice chopped cheese and bacon. You can, and sometimes depending on if I can be bothered, you can add a bit of egg to the top of your rolls, and that way your cheese and bacon kind of just sits on there a bit easier. I'm not going to hold you up tonight doing that bit. Kind of just like the egg just makes it stick a little bit, if that makes sense. But that's it. That's our scrolls, cheese and bacon rolls, and mini hot dogs all down out of the same dough there. So I'm going to pop them in the oven. Because I've got a bit of different stuff going on, it might take different amounts of time. I'll just keep an eye on them. Usually would like a full batch of any of these would kind of be around the 20 minutes mark, depending on how big you make them, obviously. So I'll just pop them in the oven and keep a bit of an eye on them and see how we go. But that's it, guys. We're going to head on over to Jess now, I think, aren't we, Jess? Yeah. So Jess will just introduce herself, and then we will, she'll get cooking for us. Sorry, Jess.
Hey everyone, so I'm Jess. I'm on Instagram as Thermilife on the Farm. So like Erin touched on before, we are a team that are all around Victoria, Australia, everywhere. So I'm actually based in the Wimmera. So I'm up in Caniva on the farm up here. So I'm always making food. I've got a couple of kids. I've got a third one on the way. And yeah, and my husband's a farmer, so we're forever making lots of snacks to keep everyone happy. So tonight I'm actually making some banana, I can't remember what they're called, that's bad. Go to my week and I'll find the recipe. They are banana and oat pikelets. So this does say it's for toddlers and beyond, but they're still good for everyone. You don't have to have a toddler to make them. So we'll just click on start cooking. And it's got 65 grams of rolled oats. So I'll just put them straight in. There we go. Insert measuring cup, mixing bowl lid. And now we're actually going to mill these down. So this will get quite loud and probably Zoom will cut me out, but it's just going to go 10 seconds on speed 8. All right. So now you can see there, it's milled it down to a really nice fine, almost like a flour type texture. So now, thankfully, as you can see, it's harvest and my husband's on the header, so my kids are not going to bed for me, but that's fine. Now it's asking for 1 banana cut into pieces. So I'm just going to break that up, pop that in. There we go. 4 eggs. So I've already cracked them into here. Put them in. And 160 grams of milk. I forgot to get that out of the fridge. So it's milk of choice. So you could put in any type of milk here that you prefer or your family require. There we go. 40 grams of butter. Let's put that in as well. Now a tablespoon of chia seeds. Put that in. And again, put the lid back on. And we're just going to mix for 30 seconds on speed 8 again. So scrape down the sides here. Now it's asking for, I'll just quickly show you that. So it's mixed it all up really nicely there. It's asking for spelt flour. I didn't actually have any tonight, so I'm just going to pop in some wholemeal flour. So 150 grams of wholemeal plain flour. Okay. And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Put the lid back on. And just now another 5 seconds. So that is it for making the pikelet mixture. So that was really simple. So what I'm actually going to do, the next step it says here is to now take it over to the fry pan. But before I do that, I'm also going to make some muesli bars today. So I'll actually get them started now. So I'll just put that bowl to the side and I'll grab another bowl. Who's taken advantage of our 2 bowls? Is everyone using a second bowl in their kitchen? They are an absolute game changer. Here we go. So these muesli bars, the recipes from the recipe community. And I've actually put it onto my created recipes. So if any of you have not done that yet, or you've got questions, please reach out to your consultant because we'll be able to help you do it. But it makes it so much easier once you can put it on your screen. So I'm just going to go to start cooking. The recipe does come up looking a little bit different when it's created recipes and not just a normal cookie dough. All right, so it's just telling me now, first step I put in was to preheat the oven, so I've done that. And now this recipe too uses a tray with like you cook it all in a tray and then you can cut it into your bars. But I'm actually going to use the snack bar molds that you can get in the mix shop. So I can skip this step as well. So now we need to add, it's got 100 grams. You can either use coconut oil or butter. And then 100 grams of either rice malt syrup or honey, depending on what you like and what you have. So tonight I'm actually going to add in butter and honey. So if you just click on the small little scales button down the bottom there, it brings up your scales and you can measure straight into your bowl like you normally would. Pop the butter in. Okay. And just make sure you always tear your scales as well. Now we'll go with the 100 grams of honey. Also too, always just try to make sure you don't get the honey and the ingredients on your blades, because it just never seems to melt and mix as well. There we go. So cross out of that, we can click next. Now it's saying cook 5 minutes, 120 degrees on speed 1.5. So as I've made this guided cooking on here, I just click on the little button with the blade on it down here, and it brings it up already that it's 5 minutes, 120 degrees, and it's turned to speed 1.5. Now what I'm going to do, just slide that back for a minute. So while that cooks there, I'll grab my pikelet mixture. Is anyone making pikelets at home as a snack for kids? I know my kids definitely love them. So I'm going to pop this into my cupcake pan. I'm not sure if anyone has one of these, but it's an absolute game changer when you are trying to make anything like, I honestly don't think I've really used it very much for cupcakes, but it's perfect for pancakes and pikelets and everything like this where you need to where you want to be like getting small portions and that sort of thing. Another great idea, as you can see here, is I've actually put the lid of the Thermomix, fits perfectly over the top of the cupcake pan, and so you can actually just pour it all in and not really make a mess. Oh, sorry, my 2-year-old has just joined me and decided to play with my stand. And such treasures tonight. Another joy of this job is that you can just make it work around your family. So it doesn't matter that I've got the kids at home tonight. And normally they would be in bed, but couldn't be so lucky tonight. All right, so I'll pop the lid back on there. And now that is right here in my cupcake pan. Now what I'm going to do is move over to the stove. Hopefully this won't make everyone seasick. Let's move over here quickly. Now I can just really quickly and easily just flip out my pikelets like that. So you can see there, you can just get small little round pikelets. and they'll easily be nice and easy to cook on here. All right. What are other snacks that people are cooking for their kids' lunchboxes? I know that I definitely make these and have them in I used to have them in my Kinder lunchbox, but now it'll actually be a school lunchbox going into this year, which is a bit scary. But they're a great snack for after school and to just even put in the lunchbox as well.
No, I love making pikelets too, Jess. They're so handy. I have nearly 1-year-old twins now, and I find they're perfect for them too. Like, so they're great for lunchboxes. And you know, if we've got to go out and we just want something for the kids, for the twins, that's nice, easy, clean finger food. Pikelets are so perfect. So perfect for lunchboxes, perfect for twins, perfect for me.
And I must say, my husband's never complained when I pop them into his lunch either.
Yeah, I saw was it Hannah made the banana and oat pikelets. They're my favourite too, Hannah. They're great one for the kids.
Should have preheated my pan, sorry.
All good. I completely agree. Everyone needs cupcake pen in their life. If you guys haven't seen, if you didn't receive the emails or see it on social media, there is a back to school sale in the Mix shop at the moment where there's some really great products at 30% off. So things like the muesli bar mold. I'm pretty sure the cupcake pen's on sale too.
Yep, I'm pretty sure the cupcake pen is too.
The mini loaf tray, there's donut tray, like a few things that are really great for baking things for back to school lunchboxes. Yeah, have a look in the Mix shop if you haven't already.
Yep, so they're just cooking nicely there like that.
Perfect.
That'll take a little bit longer. And I'll just, am I just moving back? Oh no, these will just be a little set longer.
While I've got you all and Jess is just a little bit busy, I just thought I'd let you know that we are going to run, if anybody is interested in joining our team at all, if you think during tonight you think this is something that you might like to do, come join us. Obviously, you'll see as you go through that we're all mums working around our kids, working around school, that kind of thing. We've all taken a break over school holidays and just kind of run our business as we could. But we'll be getting back into things a bit more as school and kinder goes back. But if you think this business is something that you might be interested in finding a bit more information about, we will be running a little kind of impromptu info session at the end. So have a think about if you want to watch in on that. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But,
I'm also just popping in the cooked pikelets into my thermo server because I will keep them nice and warm while the rest of them are cooking. So perfect if your kids, well, my kids are here, but perfect if you had them, you're going to eat them straight away for afternoon tea, or you can, like what I'm going to do is put them away in the fridge for tomorrow. Let's come back over here. All right, so this has finished. All right, so this is finished now. We've done the cook and the melt, so you can just see in there, all it's done is just melted the honey and the butter for me. Now we're going to add in the rolled oats. And this is where this recipe is great, that you can actually start making it perfect for your own family. So you put in rolled oats. So I'll pop them in. So again, I click on the little scales button and I've already got it in here with exactly what I need. So 125 grams of rolled oats. $130, that'll be fine. And then it's got 200 grams of seeds. So this is where it's suggesting sunflower seeds, pepita seeds or flax seeds. And you can put in varying amounts of all of them, or leave them out if you want to. So I'm just going to get to 200 grams in total. So I'll just put in all the sunflower seeds I had left. So 70 grams. Put in about the same of the pepitas, and then put the flax seeds in. And there we go. That's about 200 grams. Perfect. And then the last one to put in is 50 grams of coconut. There we go. All right. So that was all the ingredients there. Now we're just going to combine them for 30 seconds on speed 2. So again, just bring it up here, 30 seconds, speed 2. And it's actually on reverse, so it's just mixing it. It shouldn't be affecting the, won't be cutting up the oats or the seeds or anything. Now, I'm sure with this recipe too, you could add in dried fruit if you wanted to. You could add some chopped apricots or sultanas or anything like that. I haven't, to be honest, but I don't see why you couldn't. But you can definitely really make it your own. You could just add in more oats if you wanted and less seeds. You could add nuts if that was what you wanted as well. So that is what our mixture looks like. All perfectly mixed in there. And now go to the next step, and it says press mixture firmly into the lined baking pan. So as I said before, I'm going to be using my snack bar molds. So these are only quite small, but they're the perfect muesli bar size. And the trick in here as well is to really push it in, because you really want to make sure the more you push it in, the better it'll actually stick together as it cooks. So I usually just put it in like this. And then you can use the back of the spoon to push it in, but I often find that using my fingers helps a lot, is a lot easier. This amount of mixture too will fill all 12. No, yeah, all 12. Sorry for a minute, I thought that was only 10. All 12 of the molds. But there's less sugar than in the bought muesli bars, and also, as I said, you can make them how you and your family prefer them. But yeah, push it down as hard as you can, or else I have found that if you don't, they will break apart once they're cooked. Really just push them in. I just want to throw in with Erin saying about the biz session after this. At the moment, if you want a second bowl, you can actually join our team and earn your Thermomix, and only after 4 sales, you'll get a second bowl as well, which is amazing. That, and you can actually earn your cutter and a peeler. It's really the best time to join. So if you've been thinking about it, it's a lot of fun and definitely worth it. I joined about 12, nearly 18 months ago, really on a whim. I already had my machine, loved it, and thought I might as well give it a go. And I've had so much fun, I haven't actually left yet. So no, it's really good fun.
Right, thanks, Jess. Sorry. We might pop on over to Charlotte while you fill the other tray, will we?
Yeah, I was just going to say you can actually now push in some choc chips on top.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So if you did want the choc chips on there, you can just push them in on top and then they're done. So that's it.
Amazing.
And I'll pop them in the oven. No worries.
Awesome. We'll come back and see how they are at the end. How long do you pop them in the oven for, sorry?
I think they're about 15 to 20 minutes. I can't remember, but I'll watch them and I'll time it this time.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to head on over to Charlotte next. Charlotte's actually going to show us the new cutter in action as well, which is super exciting. So I'll head on over to her. She can introduce herself and then get cooking. Thanks, Charlotte.
Hi, everyone. Oop, hang on, I'll move my camera so you can see my head. Hi, everyone. So I'm Charlotte. I'm from Warragul, which is Gippsland. So I joined maybe mid-September, I think it was. Yeah, so I've just been doing it for a few months and love it. I've got 3 kids, 2 in school and 1 starting kinder this year. So I'll be doing lots and lots of lunchboxes and lots of snacks. So my Instagram and Facebook is Home Baker Mum. Yeah, I'm going to make some noodle frittatas, which is, they're very, very versatile. You can put whatever you like in them. This is just a recipe off, I've just printed it out, it's just a manual recipe. This is the road to loving my Thermomix, I think it is. But it's all linked in the ebook that Erin sent through before. So first of all, the recipe says to put, you can cook the noodles in here. So you pour hot water in, put the noodles in with the simmering basket. But it says it takes 12 minutes, so I've just skipped that step because that's a long time to me for 2-minute noodles. So I've just got your 2-minute noodles and popped them in our thermo service, which you get as a host reward. Put boiling, just popped them in, covered it with boiling water and let it sit for 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes, drained it, and they're ready to go. And now they're just keeping warm in there. So that is you can get that as a host reward as well. The next step says to make sure your bowl's cold after you've cooked the noodles. So I haven't cooked them in there, so it's nice and clean. And it says to put the eggs in the bowl. But I'm going to use the new cutter because I want to grate some veggies before I put anything in the bowl. I might go move my screen again. So this one, it says to put spring onions, 2 2-minute noodle packets, some eggs, some peas, some grated cheese, and some chicken stock. Sorry, let's just cut my head off, but I'm still here. So I'm going to just add some extra veg in. So I'm going to put carrot, zucchini, and like a broccoli stalk, just to get some extra veggies in. And I'm also going to do some corn because my kids don't eat peas. So I'm just going to grate it really finely and mix it through the noodles as well. So hidden veg, and I'm also going to grate some cheese as well. So this is the cutter. Is anyone going to get the cutter tonight as a host reward? So it's very simple to use. So it's got the spindle bit that just sits on the blades or covers the blades, and then the bowl which goes on the top, which you can just take out so it doesn't actually dirty your bowl. And then you've got your blades, which there's 2 sides, one's for slicing and one's for grating. So the slate is slicing, the slate colour, it's a bit black, and the grey side is for grating. So I'm just going to put that side up because I'm going to do some grating. And I'm going to pop it all in the same bowl. I'm not going to empty the bowl because it's all going to get mixed together anyway. And then the lid, the top bit goes on. And so this suits the TM5 and the TM6. So on a TM5, you just use it manually on speed 4. But if you've got the TM6, you may have noticed the new modes on your screen. So it's got grating and slicing. So we're going to grate today. Just tells you how to use it. I'll just hit the X, and then you can hit thin or thick. So it's going to reverse the blades or go forwards. We're going to go thick for the cheese, and then I'm going to go thin grate for the rest of the veggies. So the kids don't know. Is that all right? Can you see that, or do you want me to move my screen a bit higher, Erin? See that?
No, that's perfect. Thanks, Charlotte.
All right, so the cheese just goes on the top. You just got to make sure it fits through. There's a little chute at the top there. There's a little one and a big one. So you just got to make sure it fits in there. So I'll just chunk of cheese, pop it in, and then I'm just going to turn, well, you should probably turn it on first. Turn it to thick, and that's just going to start the blades. And I'm just going to pop that in. Just give that a light push. Oh, there's a bit more in there. Wait for the lid to unlock. So that's the cheese grated thickly, so just like a traditional grater. And I'm just going to leave the cheese in there, and I'm going to go on to do the veggies next as well. So pop the lid back on, and I've got my, take this back out. I'm going to do the veggies all on a thin grate now. So I'm just going to turn that on, put my zucchini in. Broccoli. You just hit it to stop it. Wait for it to unlock. And that's all grated in a few seconds. So that's the thin grate carrot. I've got the zucchini under there and the broccoli. Kids won't even know it's in there. All right, so now my bowl is clean. Take the spindle out, so my bowl's clean. And I'm going to go on with the rest of the recipe. So it says to place the eggs into bowl, speed 5 seconds. So I've got 5 eggs, already cracked them. Hard doing it back to front. So that's just going to mix those eggs. So you don't have to add extra veggies, but I like to get extra veggies into my kids because my kids are very fussy. So you could use any veggies you want as well, whatever you have in the fridge. I've got some spring onions from our garden, which I've just frozen into little pieces. So it just says 3 spring onions sliced. Pop them in. I'm not going to do too much spring onion. And then it says add your peas, which I'm going to use corn instead. So it says 50 grams of peas. And then it says your grated cheese and your stock powder. So I'm going to just pop all my veggies in now. And my cheese. And that just gets rinsed out, or it is dishwasher safe as well, but it's pretty easy to clean. And you can put some bacon, you can put some chicken, you can put tuna if you want at this step. I'm not going to do any of that. And then it says to use a teaspoon of chicken stock powder. I'm just going to use the 2-minute noodle sachets, but you could just use your veggie stock paste if that's what you've got at home as well. Put them in. And you don't even have to put 2 in if you don't want to, depending on how salty you like it. And if you put bacon, things like that, you don't have to add it either. And then we're just going to mix that for 5 seconds. speed 3. So with our noodles earlier, so I've cooked them and drained them. I've just given them just a little chop up with the scissors, just so they're not super long. And we're just going to add that egg mixture there into the bowl with the noodles. And just give that a quick toss. So just straight to the Thermomix over there. So that's it there, and then I'm just going to do spoonfuls, however big you want, into a fry pan and make them into little like frittata fritters things. Do you want me to do that now, Erin, or do you want to someone?
Yeah. Yeah, you keep going with fritters and then we'll head over to Sarah. Yeah.
Yeah, my stove's behind me, but I'll.
So really, are you just spooning it in and then cooking it? That's all there is to it now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to put a bit of oil. I'm just going to use the tongs to sort of shape it.
Yeah.
Pop it in because the spoon might drop a bit.
Yeah.
The oil.
Oh, well, maybe we'll leave it to it.
Yeah, I have seen people like bake this as well. Like you could put it in a dish and bake it in the oven for 20 minutes.
Make it a bit like a quiche or a loaf. Yeah, that'd be good. And then slice it up for the kids.
Yeah.
Clever. All right, we'll pop over to Sarah and then we'll come back and see you afterwards.
Sure.
Thanks, Charlotte. All right, Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, so I'm Sarah. I'm from Pakenham in Victoria, and I'm Mama Be Healthy on Instagram and Facebook. I joined, I think, in October or maybe November. I have 3 little kids, 5, 2 and 1. So busy, but the Thermomix makes life easier. So today I will be showing you how to make yogurt. It's such a money saver in our family. We make at least 2 batches a week. So I'm using the creamy vanilla yogurt recipe. And I'm actually going to make a double batch of that. So the recipe calls for 1 litre of milk. I just actually do this. I put a little hole at the bottom, at the back, away from the lid, just to help so it doesn't splash, because I've done this enough times to know sometimes it splashes all over the place. So it just pours really nicely and you don't have to try and squeeze it out. So I just use the long life milk. The recipe actually calls just for normal fridge milk. If you do use fridge milk, you just have to heat it up and follow the recipe as per se. It's 10 minutes you need to heat the milk up, and then you need to actually let it cool back down to 45 degrees, which can take about an hour. So being a mum, we don't have time for that. So I use the long life milk, so you don't need to heat up and then cool down. It just goes from there. So I'll walk you through it. So I've put in 2 litres of milk, full cream milk. If you were making vanilla, this is a great time to pop in your vanilla pods. I'm not. I'm just going to do a plain Greek yogurt, and then I'll also show you how you can flavour it at the end as well if you'd like. So I'm skipping through all these steps because I don't need to heat my milk up. So this is where it's telling me 10 minutes, get it to 80 degrees, which I don't need to do, and then allow it to cool, which I don't need to do. So I'm going to go straight in. So I've added my milk. I'm going to go in with my yogurt mixture, which at the beginning said 55 grams. So I'm doubling that. So I'm just going to head over to my scales. I'm going to weigh out 110 grams. I just use this Greek yogurt. You just need to make sure whichever yogurt you do choose to use, that it has live cultures in it. So this is the Greek yogurt that I use. I don't know. It's just from Woolies. Whichever one you choose to use, just make sure it has those live cultures in it. Otherwise, it won't set. And then you can click the bookmark at the top and go back to your recipe. So it says 50 grams of full cream milk powder. The one I use, and we're doubling it, so I'm going to go in with 100. Do you guys pack yogurt for your kids, or are you guys buying yogurt at the minute or making your own yogurt? Let us know in the chat box. If you are going,
Got a few people that are making it, Sarah.
Yeah.
I just asked the same. Yeah.
If you were going to make this into a sweet yogurt, you'd pop your caster sugar in now. I'm not. I'm skipping that. And I lost my drink. Hold on. Better grab that. Use it for dinner. It's just going to mix for 5 seconds. Give that all a good mix. And before we go and divide that back up, I'm going to go back and I'm going to put it on for about 4 minutes. I've done this enough times to know that it's 4 minutes, and set it at 45 degrees because that's the temperature that they ask you to let it cool back down to. So we're going to heat up our milk only to 45 degrees. That's all we want it to do. So that should take about 3 to 4 minutes on speed 3. And that's it. That's how simple it is. So I think we're popping back over to Charlotte, and then I'll show you how I can pop them into these little pouches.
Amazing. Thanks, Sarah. Hannah, this recipe is from Cookie Doo, the one that Sarah is using. So I did pop the details in that ebook that I sent earlier. I'll send it again at the end, just in case anyone had trouble downloading it. But yeah, this one's from a Cookie Doo one, so in guided cooking. All right, we're going to head back over to Charlotte, and then we'll come back to Sarah at the end to see how she ferments it in those pouches.
All right, so I just did a couple, but there's one little fritter that I'm still cooking them, but they were pretty easy and quick to cook. I'm just going to make some hummus now, quick dip, good plant-based protein to send to school, no nuts, things like that. Have the dip with some veggies. You could use the cutter and slice some carrots in there or some cucumber and pop it in the lunchbox with the dip as well. So this is a Cookie Doo recipe, and I've just popped it into my week. There, there's hummus. And if you scroll down, you've got all your ingredients, your steps, and there's always hints and tips, which I always tell people to read that first, and I always read it first before you start the recipe. And it's got your nutrition panel as well. So at the top, it's got 8 portions for the serving size, and it's 2 cans of beans, but I'm just going to scale that down to 4 portions and just do half a serving and apply that. Has anyone used the recipe scaling before? Did you know about the recipe scaling? You can make it for less portions or more portions. So just reduce that, which reduces my ingredients as well, of how much, the quantity of everything I need. Does that automatically. So I'm just going to start cooking. So it says 1 garlic clove, but 3 because who puts 1 in? And then I'm just going to pop the lid on, and we're just going to chop that up for 5 seconds on speed 7. So I reckon that probably only did 3 seconds, but that's all chopped up really fine. On the side, it just says to scrape down the sides. So popping it all back down to the bottom. then next, and we're going, it says, I don't know how to say this, garbanzo beans, which I just use chickpeas, which are fairly cheap in the supermarket as well. I've only just used 1 can. And this is all in ounces. So it says 1 can, which is 14 ounces. So I've rinsed them already. Put them in. You can save, like, I think it's called, is it that aquafaba juice from this, and you can pop it in here with your Thermomix, with your wheat, and the kids love to play with it, put a bit of colour in it. The kids love like a scent play. 1 ounce of tahini, which is sesame seeds, ground it up. It does say in the hints and tips, if you don't have tahini, you can mill up some sesame seeds to make this. I've got some. So 1 ounce, so it's got your scales over this side. I'll just tear them. I don't know ounces and I know grams. Ounces confuse me, but that's why the scales are there. So 1 ounce of tahini and ½ an ounce of olive oil. And some lemon juice, which I don't have any fresh lemon, so I've just got the lemon juice in the bottle. So 1 ounce. Oh, ounces really throw me. And ½ a teaspoon of sweet paprika. And then some salt and some ice cubes. Has anybody made hummus, or is anyone making any other dips? So it says 1 to 2 ounces of ice cubes, that's 1.9. And then pop the lid on. And that's going to blend on speed 5 for 1.5 minutes.
I'm just going to mute Charlotte there for a minute. Well, that's noisy. We might pop back over to Sarah and then we can just come back and see it all finished there. I think Charlotte, as you can see, is just giving it just a little push down. She's got the guard on the spatula. It's going to stop it hitting the blade. And then that's the dip done after the mixing ups, which is great. So we're going to pop back over to Sarah and she'll finish showing us her yogurt. Thanks, Sarah.
No worries. It's taking a little bit longer than usual. I'm not really too sure why, but oh, there we go. It's just hit 45 degrees, which is perfect. So I might just stop that. It probably took about 5 minutes to 6 minutes, just to let you know. So that's heated up to 45 degrees. So we are ready to pop them into these pouches. I just got these pouches off eBay. Pretty cheap. So all you do now is I literally just pour them in. About 3/4 full. Try not to spill it everywhere.
I love that you can put in as much or as little as you want as well. Like I've got a whole heap of pouches, but my kids are aged from 6 down to nearly 1, like I said before. So I can do some smaller ones for the babies and some bigger ones for the bigger kids, which is great as well. No waste.
So what I will do, I won't stand here and pour them all for you right now. But what I would usually do is I would pour about half of them. So usually I get about 14 pouches in total. So about 7 of them I'll just do plain Greek. For my littlest, he's 1 year old. And then for my bigger girls, I make them into like a flavored yogurt. So I made this pre-made in my Thermomix. It's a blueberry Kool-Aid, super simple. It's about 200 grams of blueberries. I just did 50 grams of sugar and 20 grams of lemon juice. I think it's linked in the ebook as well. And for 4 minutes, and it cooks down, and this is what you get. It's beautiful, rich like red color, and I'll mix that through into my yogurt and then pop them in the pouches as well. I did do a little bit of maths. Maths is not my strong point, but I thought I'd just point out to you how much of a money saver making your own yogurt can be. So for this recipe, for the 2 litres of yogurt that we've made, it cost about $5 to make that whole thing, which will give me 14 pouches, which is like 14 quite full pouches. So I'd probably say about 150 to 200 grams of yogurt in each pouch. And I make 2 batches of that per week. So I'm saving about $24 of yogurt a week, which is huge. Over a year, that will give me more than $1,000 just saved on yogurt alone. So making your own yogurt is super great if you're looking to save money. Yeah.
It's such a great money saver, Sarah. And because we've got the fermentation mode on our TM6, we can also ferment in pretty much any container that's food safe and heat safe, really. So it just kind of warms overnight for 10 hours. Most of us will, when we make yogurt, set it overnight. So because the fermentation takes about 10 hours, so that we don't have the Thermomix out of action for the whole day. So doing it this time of night is perfect. It's ready to go in the fridge in the morning. But you can, yeah, ferment in the pouches. You can ferment in little individual containers for the kids, or do it in a bigger, our white thermoserver fits perfectly in the Varoma as well, or like a Pyrex bowl with a lid, those kind of things too. So.
You can also, if you haven't tried, you can do it in your mixing bowl, which is amazing. That was the first time I did yogurt. I did in my mixing bowl, which is really easy to do as well. Similar recipe, similar, like the same thing, but it just ferments in the bowl, which is really handy if you don't have pouches as yet and you're just wanting to try it out straight away.
Yeah, so good. So now, Sarah, you're just filling all your pouches and then just popping it on for the night, aren't you?
Yeah, so what will happen is once my mixture is finished from here, I will then fill this up with, I think it's 200 grams of water and a little bit of lemon juice. And then my Varoma will be filled with all my pouches in it, and it will sit on top of my mixing bowl, and it will ferment for 10 hours. In the morning, it'll be ready, and I'll just pop them in the fridge and they're ready to go.
Yeah, perfect. So obviously, guys, we can't show you the finished product of the yogurt because it does take 10 hours, but it's just a beautiful firm yogurt. You'll be able to see, I'm not sure if Sarah mentioned her Facebook and Instagram is Mama Be Healthy. So you can follow her and check out in the morning. I'm sure she'll share some pictures of how her yogurt has fermented. Cool. We might just pop over to Charlotte and just check in on everybody and see what everybody has finished up with. Thanks, Sarah. Are you there? Oh, there she is.
Yep, there I go. I was unmuting myself. So I've just done the hummus. So basically it blended for 1.5 minutes, and then probably halfway I stopped and I scraped down the sides because it sounded like it needed to be, like it was all up the sides. So I just simply stopped it, scraped it down, started it again for the rest of the time. And then it just said to drizzle with olive oil, sprinkle with cayenne pepper, and sweet paprika and serve. So I'll skip the cayenne pepper and just done paprika and olive oil. But I would recommend tasting at this stage and adjusting if you need more lemon juice, more salt, and then going back and just mixing it more if you need to or not. But that's pretty good. Yeah, nice and easy and quick.
Amazing. Thank you. So thanks so much, Charlotte. Yeah, the fritters look really good too. I think the kids would love them, especially with the noodles in them
Yeah.
and a little bit of hidden veg. I think pretty much all of us love our hidden veg for our little ones. Thank you so much, Charlotte. And then we'll head back to Jess.
All right, so mine are all cooked as well. So I've got the pikelets all in here. So that's just the one batch. Has pretty much filled my thermos over there. And with the baking powder and everything, they have puffed up quite well, which is really good. And the muesli bars are still a bit hot to get out of the mold, but that is them there if you can see them. So they have browned up quite nicely. And you just need to let them cool, because if you get them out too early, they will break in half. But they've come up really nice. So that is mine done.
Amazing. Thanks, Jess. I was just popping that ebook back in the chat box, guys, in case you missed it before. I'll just come back over. Oh, wrong one. Like that. Come back over to me to show you mine. I'm going to have rolls and stuff. I'm not going to have to do any more breads for our school freezer restock, which is great. I freeze all of these too. They're all perfect. If you freeze on the same day you make them, they come out like you wouldn't even know they were frozen before. So this is our first batch. My others are just proving. So we've got our little cheese and Vegemite scrolls. We've got our mini hot dogs, which I'll bring them a little bit closer and show you. Hopefully you can see them there. Mini hot dogs and our cheese and bacon rolls. So normally, and I have for the second batch that I made up while the others were cooking, I would make them a little bit smaller for the kids' lunch boxes, but that's fine because they'll probably get eaten for lunch here tomorrow anyway. But again, that's the beauty of making it yourself, really. You can make them the size and to suit your kids, your family, that kind of thing. So our scrolls are just little, and I'm just going to pull one apart so you can just see how kind of beautiful fluff. I'm going to squash it with my fingers instead, but that's how soft it is. That dough is beautiful and fluffy. And that's it. So I've got my others proving that I'll pop in the oven when they're doubled in size. And that's it for everything we've made tonight, guys. So yeah, feel free to pop any questions in the chat box. I've popped the ebook in there. Hopefully you won't have any trouble downloading that. Just sing out if you do. We're also going to run a little competition after tonight's virtual. So we thought it might be fun. Obviously, a lot of you guys are going to be cooking things for back to school in the next couple of weeks. So we thought it might be fun if we run a little competition. So if you cook anything that we've made tonight, we'd love you guys to share it on your social media, tag one or all of us in the post when you share it, or the stories, however you want to do it. And just let us know as well, like if your profile's on private, just send us a DM and with a screenshot of it, tag us, and then we'll draw someone. I can't remember, I put the date in the ebook now, I've lost it off the top of my head. I think it was about the 10th, 12th maybe of February. I'll give you time to do your back to school baking. Share a photo, tag us, and then we're going to draw a $50 Mix Shop voucher to thank one of you guys. And thank you all so much for joining us. If you've got any questions, let me know. Please enjoy the ebook. If you want any more information about anything, just reach out to all of us or one of us. And yeah, we are going to run a quick little information session. If anybody wants some more information about doing what we do have a lot of fun, and we all love being in a team together. So if you'd like a bit more information on that, you can stay on for a quick little informal little info session. I know a lot of you are Thermomix owners, so you can find out how you can bring your Thermomix along and just start making some commission, earn the second bowl, earn the cutter, the peeler, that kind of thing straight away. So if that's something you're interested in, just hang on Zoom and we'll have a quick little break and then we'll get into that. It'll only take about 15 minutes or so. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our virtual and hopefully we'll see you at the next one. We're going to run a quick weeknight meals one in February. So we know, obviously, once we're back to school, we're back to lots of after school activities and that kind of thing. So as mums now, we're going to need our quick weeknight meals. So we thought that would be a great one to run in February. So hopefully we'll see you all for that one. And thanks again for joining us.